I've seen it happen a lot where men and women start flirting.
It never, ever ends well.
But it's going to happen.
You cannot sit there and hit on another person in the production. Keep it in your pants until the show's over.
We are now going to talk about a subject that is difficult because we don't talk about it enough here at the college, and we know it's part of every college. It was certainly part of Sam Houston State when I worked there. It's certainly part of the sets that I've worked on, and it is sexual harassment. We're going to kind of dissect it a little bit so that we can talk not only about the issue of sexual harassment, but flirtation on the set. So let's talk about what sexual harassment is.
Sexual harassment is any unwanted sexual advances, any unwanted even attention that you turn down and it continues to go. It particularly pertains to the fact that if you believe that you will only get a job or only keep a job if you date someone, if you'll take it over again. It particularly pertains to if your employment is dependent upon dating someone or being with them in a romantic way.
Okay, so I'm not going to pick a gender here because
Okay.
I would imagine it might happen to men as well as women. How do you deal with it? If you're the one that's receiving the unwanted advancements.
You confront it. You immediately, you say no. You make it incredibly clear. If that behavior continues, you take it up with someone else. You take it up with, if you're on set, it'd be the AD. If you're in the edit room, it would be the editor. It can always be the producer, anybody at the chain of command. The simple way we always say it is, if you're getting paid, who is signing your paycheck? If you're facing any of this behavior, that's the person you talk to, and they will deal with it.
Okay. Write it up? Should that be written up?
Documentation is always good, but it must be confronted.
Right. And if you don't confront it and bring it up years later, which happened to me, somebody brought up an incident that happened on a set 5 years before, and I couldn't even remember it. And they said, well, such and such did this to me. And I said, okay, you're going to have to write it up, bring it in here, we'll deal with it, but I don't remember it. And that person finally didn't follow through, but you should do it right away.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
What about flirtation on the set? I've seen it happen a lot where men and women start flirting, and this is what I tell them. I said, I can't stop the tendencies on set because we are on set for long hours. If you're on set for 12 hours, it gets to late night. It's really easy to get connected to somebody, and you start bonding, then you go past bonding, and now you're wanting to be with them or you want to date them, you just start flirting with them. How do you feel about that?
Chris, in terms of flirting, my one piece of advice is keep it in your pants until the show's over.
Okay. Of course you don't want to set up a situation where it is going to turn into some sort of sexual confrontation, because then we do have sexual harassment. And we do have grounds, in any case, for firing.
But flirting in some ways is always sexual harassment. That I can be flirting with someone, and if they don't want that advance, it can be sexual harassment to them. And it is always going to be in the view of the person receiving the attention. And so you want to stay safe. Our students, I want to keep them safe. Don't do it. Don't put yourself in a place where you find out later you were sexually harassing someone, because you're going to be in trouble. You're not going to be able to deal with that. You're here to tell stories. You're here to be a filmmaker. Do that. Everything else, do that later. You've got plenty of time.
Okay. I think we're going to know, for the most part, who really is interested in this and what isn't going to turn into sexual harassment. My problem with what you said is you're not taking into account a 12-hour day out in the field and the general tendencies of men and women when they're there for a long time and they start talking. I think it's just nature that they have a little flirtation. Don't carry it to any touching, don't carry it to anything else, but it's going to happen. And the problem I have with what you said is I've seen it happen, and I just make sure it doesn't get out of hand.
Does it ever turn out well when it happens?
I don't know.
No, it never turns out well. It always causes problems. saying it's just going to happen and we just got to go with it is not a good excuse for just saying let's deal with it. You could sit there and 20 years ago say, oh, sexual harassment's going to happen on a set. Just go with it. It should not be happening.
I'm
and
not.
Our students.
Why do you do that? Because what you're doing is you just pigeonholed me towards, oh, sexual harassment's just going to happen on a set. I didn't say that.
But what we're saying is this is inappropriate behavior. So we can sit there and point at any other inappropriate behavior and say, it just should be okay. No, it's not appropriate. And if it happens and you're not feeling harassed, it's not an unwanted advance,
I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot.
But my issue is you don't know how other people are going to take it. Don't jeopardize your career. Don't jeopardize your ability to do your job over stupid flirting, over making a pass at someone that you shouldn't be doing it. Because again, it may be innocent on one person's part, but if the other person doesn't take it that way, you're in a bad place and you're going to be wrong.
Okay, I have warned people. I have done it. I have warned people during production on how far they can take that. If I do see something like that, well, what are you going to do? I mean, are you just going to tell them to stop talking to each other?
If it is my edit room and it's happening with my assistant editors, I say, guys, this is not appropriate behavior.
I've done that here in the studio.
And if I was an AD on a set, I'd say the same thing. Another way to look at it is basically you're getting paid to do a job. You're not getting paid to flirt. You're not getting paid to chat somebody up. You're getting paid to do your job.
Well, of course,
do your job.
There are times for everything, and if there happens to be a moment that they go to the crafty table and they're making a date, I'm okay with that. Depends how far the flirtation goes. I'm very careful that there is a line, but I don't want them to cross that line. But again, I don't feel like I have to go in there and set rules that are unreasonable. And I think in a 12-hour day, and I've been in tons of sets that have gone 12 hours, I don't think it's unreasonable that they have a little male-female discussion.
And I will say, I think you can say that that's unreasonable. I'm not saying you can't talk to each other. I'm not saying you can't have fun. I'm not saying you can't, what did you watch last night? What are you interested in? What music is new? I'm saying you cannot sit there and hit on another person in the production. I'm saying you cannot flirt with another person.
I'll agree there's a line. There's a line.
And I think we agree with that, but I'm drawing the line much more conservatively than you are. And I believe that is what we have to be doing in today's world.
By the way, in an edit room, I definitely would draw the line. There's a reason for that. You're alone. There's two of you. You're sitting in a room by yourselves for long hours. Not good to have the sexual tension begin.
And I have a problem that you would say it's different in an edit room than on a set, because I look at them as the same thing. So if it's you're on a small news set, it's two people, there's a cameraman and
but there's a reason for that.
Would that be not okay to flirt? I don't think that we can sit there and go, well, it's a flow chart. Two people, flirting bad. 5 or more, flirting okay. Gender mix this, flirting okay. I think it's always wrong.
I'm on there. There's 40 people on the set. There's 2 people in that room. If they're in the room, they're out of your sight. I don't feel good about that.
But you know what? You shouldn't feel good about it when it's a room filled with people. Because how often is everyone in the room sitting there? It's very easy for somebody to go, I really felt uncomfortable. This person made it past me. They did this. And no one's looking at that. It's the same place that you're at. Again, my note is, particularly if you're on set, your shoot's the longest shoot. If you work on a $500 million film, it's an 8-month shoot. Wait 8 months. If you cannot wait 8 months, what is wrong with you?
Okay, I agree with you. Okay, but I got to tell you that I had a couple of texts. They actually asked permission. I thought it was kind of cute. They asked permission if they may date. And I took them aside and I said, okay, here's why you're going to have me looking at you. I said, if you go off for lunch breaks and you both turn off your phones and I need you back here, and you disappear for an hour and a half, I said, I have a problem with that. If it gets in the way of you doing your duty here because you're flirting with each other, I have a problem with that. If you touch each other, I have a big problem with that because you're here to do professional work. If we're off on location and you guys go teetering off when you should be with me, I have a huge problem with that. I said, if you want to take the chance, considering I may have a big problem with you down the line, then go ahead. But I'm telling you that relationships tend to be full of emotion, and the sexual tension tends to take your eyes off the job.
And that is why I say no.
And so I agree with you.
Okay.
Innocent flirtation that occurs, if I see it, I will keep my eyes on it, but I'm not going to go stop it unless I see it as a problem of focus.
It to me is, it's too difficult to say this is innocent flirtation and this isn't. It's easier to say no, none of it. In terms of the case you're saying, that to me is the reason that I would tell our students to just not even go down that route, because even if you are conscientious in your job, even if you and the person you're dating are doing a great job, you're always going to be looked at a little crooked. You're always going to be sitting there and saying, your ability to do your job is going to be judged based on this other person. When they show up late because their car breaks down, it's going to reflect on you, and it shouldn't, and it will affect it. There's going to be a perception of, well, I want to hire this person, but I don't want to hire their other half, so we're going to have a problem. And it's just, don't even go there. But.
Well, we clearly disagree on that, but I don't really think we disagree as far as what flirtation is, what it can lead to, and to be careful. When it comes to sexual harassment, we are totally on the same page. No means no.
Absolutely.
And if something happens that you feel uncomfortable with, I don't mean it leads to sexual contact, I mean you feel uncomfortable, you report it. You immediately report it, you write it down, you let us know.
And we absolutely agree, and I think that is the essence of the problem is, it's so hard to know what someone else is going to feel uncomfortable with. Again, what's innocent to you may make someone else feel really uncomfortable. That's not a situation you want to deal with. We're here to do our job. We're here to tell stories. Make that your focus,
Right.
and you'll do well in your job.
Good.